Good afternoon, welcome to 10 Digits Carpentry. This morning we're talking about replacing plexiglass on your sliding door cases, whether it's a shadow box or a challenge coin case. If it has a sliding door on it, then this is the process that I use to actually change the plexiglass out. So the first thing you want to do is basically set the case upright, install the plexiglass. I usually leave the protective cover on. And then once you have the plexiglass installed, put the handle in. Make sure that the plexiglass is fully seated down, which is why we set it upright when we're doing this, and also fully seated in the handle. We don't want it all the way out because then you don't have as much room to actually drill the holes through the plexiglass and into the handle. So once the plexiglass is fully seated down, which is why we stand it upright like this, and fully seated in, then I put 2 clamps on it to hold it in place, and then I'll put these pieces of Scotch tape, or masking tape rather, over the top, the middle, and the bottom. Once all that's in place, I'll set the case down on its face, and then I remove the two clamps. Now that we've removed the 2 clamps, you can remove the handle and the plexiglass. The masking tape that's attached to the plexiglass and handle should keep the plexiglass in place while exposing the back side of the handle where the screws go in. Next thing you want to do is get a small pilot bit like this one. You want to set the depth of this pilot bit so that it doesn't go all the way through the handle. I do that by basically putting it up against the handle and ensuring that it will go all the way through the plexiglass, but not all the way through the other side of the handle. Once you set the depth correctly, go ahead and drill the 2 holes. I had already drilled those 2 holes in, so it usually takes a little bit longer than that to drill the holes. Once you drill the holes, then I remove the masking tape. And once the masking tape is removed, you can remove the handle from the case because we already have the 2 pilot holes drilled here. All we need to do now is actually just step up the bit size so that we have those 2 pilot holes are the correct bit size to fit the screws. As long as you're not stepping up the bit size too quickly, it usually goes through pretty quick. And the last fit size, I believe, is 9/32 of an inch. So you want the screws to actually just go through without having any resistance at all. So those 2 screws are the 9/32 is a good size for these screws. If you're using a different size screw, you might have to play with the bit size that you end up using to install the plexiglass. But you basically just want these screws to go through the holes that you drilled without any resistance. And the last step, well, typically you can remove the protective cover, but since I'm shipping this, the last step is just to put those new screws in. I don't recommend using a power drill for this step because if it's not lined up perfectly aligned, you might end up putting the drill through the plexiglass and not the hole you drilled in there. And if you do that, you'll crack the plexiglass. So I usually recommend using a hand screwdriver to put it in initially. That way, if you meet any resistance, you can just back it up, realign it, and then set it up. All right, and now it sets inside the case closed with the corners all aligned correctly. And that's how I replace the plexiglass, or that's how I install, new plexiglass. It's the same process. If you have any questions, shoot me a message or send me an email on my website or my Etsy shop. And thanks for watching.